Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, non-binaries of all ages, welcome to the show. If you're here to learn how to do character creation the right way, you've come to the wrong place because we are doing cat creation. This is how to make a literal cat in your favorite RPG. I am a co-host of this show, actually. I don't know why I said it like that. My name's Joel Holland.
I am also a co-host of an undisclosed show. It's this one. And my name is Austin.
And I'm technically a co-host on another show, but there's four of us, so I'm a quarter co-host. I don't know. Yeah. Hey.
And your name is?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I probably should say my name. Hello, I am Nye. Yeah, there we go.
Hello, Nye.
Hello, Nye.
Oh god. Oh, sorry.
Welcome.
Yeah. Gotta bring up that enthusiasm. Yeah. Should I say where I'm from, or should I just keep that anonymous?
You can.
All right. Hi. I'm Nye. I'm mostly on $2 Creature Feature. And I play.
Oh, that's what you meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also thought you were just like, yeah, I'm from Wales.
How dare you, good sir? Oh, nah, it's fine. I'm only slightly wounded.
I don't actually know where you're from. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm from the UK, so there's you got a 1 in 4 chance of picking the right country, so don't worry.
While you're here
Yeah.
and talking about yourself and your RPG show, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your role-playing background?
Yeah. Oh boy. It's like a job interview. Hello. Yes. So, I have been, I guess, doing this kind of stuff since the great scare of 2020. I originally was on like kind of variety of stuff, kind of jumping from stream to stream, and I found $2 Creature Feature about, I would say 2020. So I've been doing this for about 3 years now. And yeah, we play Monster of the Week mostly. We've done other little things, bits and pieces here and there. If you're talking about me personally, I do all kinds of stuff. I just kind of end up places and play TTRPGs with people. But $2 Creature Feature is kind of like my main home, my hub, if you will. And yeah, I like all kinds of games, but the game that we're talking about today is one very close to my heart. And I'm excited to make a cat in it with you two.
Yeah, and what is that game?
That game is OVA, which stands for the very on the nose name Open Versatile Anime, which is basically TTRPG, which lets you make anime characters and anime kind of scenarios and stuff like that. The best way I've ever described it is it's like GURPS without the bullshit. And I think that's fair.
We haven't done GURPS on here.
Oh,
Probably won't.
Oh, yeah, boy. Yeah, I'm one of the few people I think alive that still will play GURPS. And that was before my time. But yeah, I do have a soft spot.
I don't know, man.
I have a soft spot for GURPS, but in kind of the same way that people have a really old, crappy appliance that they keep around for set amount of reasons, even if it's fucking broken and definitely doesn't work anymore. So yeah,
Like my old VCR player.
Exactly. Yeah, who the fuck's
I
gonna
don't
watch?
have one.
Yeah.
Dude, I have to have a VCR player because most of my movie collection is on VCR.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
I think you mean on VHS.
Yeah, that's what I mean, VHS.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, I have a lot of DVDs, but I have 2 boxes of VHS.
I have bad news for you. DVDs are also kind of an antiquated tech at this point.
Well, I also have a handful of Blu-rays.
Ooh.
I thought you were.
Am I
gonna say
getting
Laserdiscs.
more up to date for you now?
No. I will say in the UK, you can always tell if a charity shop is particularly catering to an older demographic when you go in and they've got a rack of VHSs. Most have a ridiculous amount of DVDs because nobody buys them anymore apart from the elderly. But you go in there, you're like, oh geez, they've got a stack of VHSs. You're like, oh boy. But did you want me to just jump right in, or I don't know?
We've got some things to cover first,
okay, yes.
just to make sure we're all on the same page here regarding how this works.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some rules that we follow as a show when it comes to creating characters on this podcast are separate from the game's rules. They are standard for the show so that we don't go too far off the rails when we are trying to build these cat characters.
Cool.
And Austin and I will read those out now. Rule number 1 is we accept no cop-outs. We're making a cat. It's the exact animal that comes to mind when I say the word. We're not making some anthropomorphic race. No people turned into cats. No lions, tigers, or heck, what's the... Man, I had a brand new example and I've already forgotten it.
Lions and tigers and bears, oh my.
Flurkin. The thing from Captain Marvel.
Yeah, that thing.
Rule number 2. We cannot use homebrew/house rules. If the rules in whatever rule book that we're looking at do not explicitly allow something to happen, we count it as a rule broken. And if we come across rules as written versus rules as intended, we go with whichever one says no. I think the best example of that is if you are intended to play as a human, but the book does not explicitly say that. Typically, that's our first rule broken.
Yep.
Okay.
That's often also the only rule that we break. Like, I originally called this show, How Many Rules Do I Have to Break to Play a Literal Cat in Your Favorite RPG? And then, like, we tested it out on D&D 5th edition. Not me and Austin, me and another friend. Tested it out on D&D 5th edition, and I thought we would just be breaking rules all over the place, but it turned out that there were so many supplements for D&D out at the time that there was actually nothing stopping you from just choosing the cat species and turning it into a character sheet.
Interesting.
So, like, we broke, like, 2 rules, and that was, like, we had to ignore the weight requirements.
Mm-hmm.
The rule-breaking thing really is, like, a hangover from what this show was intended to be before we realized, oh, that's not actually going to be a problem. Except for in these couple specific scenarios. But we still talk about it, so like, if anyone actually wants to take one of these characters and run with it, they can say to their game master, hey, you only have to break 2 rules, and you can turn these character sheets into actual cats, if you want to for some reason. Anyway, if the game includes stats for a literal cat, those must be used or adapted to the game's character sheets. This literally has not been relevant since D&D 5th edition. Except for Mr. Ray's game.
True.
I think this game has stats for a literal cat.
No, but finish the rules because I have a note to make so far.
Right. Rule number 4 is the character, class, background, playbook, job, what have you, has to exist in the game's core rules or as part of an official expansion. We can't use homebrew classes. Get them out of here.
Rule number 5, the cat can learn any skill available to its class, even if it's not something a cat could normally be trained to do. So, like, we've had cats that worked for a fantasy CIA that could seal away superpowers. We've had cats that just immediately recognize kaiju's weaknesses. We've had cats that could drive a horse-drawn buggy.
Cool.
Some real wild and crazy stuff.
All right, yeah.
Rule number 6, if a tool would be physically impossible for a literal cat to use, even if comically downsized for them, they cannot use it. Some of these include, thank you to the kind people at twitter.com for these suggestions. A cat cannot use a remote control helicopter. A can opener, which I believe I've said on here before, but this is another suggestion. And then Joel says a DualSense controller for PS5. PS4 controller, we'll see. Now, somebody else said slide rule, and I really don't know what that is. Genuinely.
A slide rule. So, like, you know when you watch people doing stuff like architecture and things?
Yeah.
And you know that little thing that they slide around? I think that's what a slide rule is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hold on, wait. I'm looking up a picture of this. A cat might be able to manipulate this, but use it effectively.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Not
thinking
a chance. Not a chance.
That's what I'm thinking of. At least in my head, that's where I've seen that is like on. Maybe I'm out of touch. But that's what I've seen is like from like architecture. Jesus, that's the most middle class thing I've probably ever said. It's from my architecture courses, of course.
Every time I'm doing architecture stuff, I got a measuring tape, a pencil, and a fucking dream. That's it.
I can't remember ever doing architecture stuff in real life.
I was doing architecture stuff this weekend in real life.
I've done a little in Minecraft.
Hey, that counts. But I was helping my dad build his garage, so we were putting up walls on Saturday.
We have 2 rules still to get through.
We do. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. If a character sheet has a section that is meant to be filled out in collaboration with the whole table, we leave that blank. That way, potential players can make it fit the group they're playing with.
Finally, we have to keep track of every rule that we break, which, as Joel mentioned, is typically pretty low.
We do this for the audience's benefit, not for the shows.
Yeah. So that's all of them, right?
Yeah, that's all 8.
Well, I have very good news for you, because having seen all those rules totally not before we started recording, this game will not break any of them as far as I'm aware, because OVA, you can make pretty much anything. There aren't really classes. It is a point-buy system. I will try not to gush too much over this game because I super duper like it, but it is designed to be used for anime, and anime is known for being kind of all over the place in terms of what you can be and what you're playing. So I don't think we'll have any issues. I think the issue will be trying to make an authentic cat with anime logic, which will be interesting to say the least. So yeah, if I could, is it alright if I give like a little background to this, or at least why I super like it?
Be my guest.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when I got into TTRPGs in like college, it was around about the same time I got into anime, and obviously like a lot of losers, I mean sophisticated nerds, I wanted to synergize the two, but there weren't a lot of good options. The main one I think a lot of people would go to is a system called Big Eyes Small Mouth. I will say this, it's probably not worth your time trying to make a cat in that game, because that's old school TTRPGs. There are so much bullshit you gotta do just to make a character, and I was like, oh. But then I found OVA, and it's wonderful. It's, in my opinion, a good mix between a system that gives the players and GM a lot of free roam, but also like is a game with things that you can latch on to, if that makes sense. I've seen some free play kind of games where it's like there's just a bit too much, and it gets a bit difficult for the players and GM to kind of focus on how to make a character. Well, kind of, I know we're not doing like the actual character creation, but I like to just go through it. The book has a nice little thing for it. So like it's step 1, well, technically there's step 0, but that's discussion, we've already done that. Step 1 is the concept. So we're making a cat. Awesome. We're halfway through. So cool. So the first thing we'll have to do is, and this is the only rule I ever say to people to really, really hammer in, you are always rolling 2d6. Like, no matter what, no matter how many bonuses or negatives you have, you're always rolling 2d6. And effectively what you're trying to do is you're trying to get more dice. And the way you do that is by having abilities that correspond to the thing you're rolling for. The game doesn't really have... This is the one criticism I have of OVA. Like, there's a couple others. But the big one is it's not great at being clear. It has the D&D problem where, like, skill checks are just kind of whatever the GM thinks is appropriate. And sometimes that's nice, and sometimes you're like, I don't know, 12? Fuck it. Like, there's nothing here. I don't know what an archaeology roll should be. And that can be a bit frustrating for rolling. But generally speaking, your idea is to get the highest number on your collection of dice. Unless you get a double, then you take that. Of course, if you, like, say, roll a 6 and 2 2s, you take the 6 because it's bigger than 4. That's like literally all you need to know about rolling. There's some bullshit complicated stuff if you do combat rules, but we're making a cat, so I don't think we'll need to worry about combat much unless you want to make like a tiger, but we're making just a little domestic cat. So there are a lot of abilities to choose from. I kind of went ahead and picked ones that I thought were reasonable. The way you pick abilities is you pick them and then you give them your numerical value, so like 1 to up to 5, and that's the number of dice you add to your 2d6. The way that they phrase it is like a +1 is like, you're reasonable at it. Like, you're not amazing, but you can do it. And then like +2 is like, okay, you are a skilled individual. Then +3 is like, holy shit, you're like one of the best people in the world. And then like 4 is like, holy shit, you're like a once in a generation or best of the century. And then like 5 is like God's level. It's not scaled very well in terms of like what's the word I'm looking for? Plotting, because but that's just the nature of it. I think it's funny. And I often tell players not to pick a +5. We'll get into that later when we talk about weaknesses, but there's a reason why getting +5 abilities is cool on paper and is really not fun in reality. In terms of how you get skills, there are a couple ways, but the easiest is effectively what I call net zero. So it's in the book. It probably has a real name, but I can't be arsed looking it up. But basically what happens is your abilities, which are pluses, and your weaknesses, which are minuses, need to equal out to 0. And that's it. So you can have as many abilities so long as you have weaknesses that balance them out. So yeah, I'd say it's a pretty straightforward game. If you have, like, I'm saying this to the people listening, if you have people in your group who are quite like, no, there needs to be lots of rules, it needs to be complicated for me to have fun, there are more things you can add. Oh, it's called base 0. There we go. I like mine better. Anyway, there are more things you can add. I don't, because to me, the appeal of this game is like, hey, I want to do like Pokemon. And it's like, cool, we can just do Pokemon with this system if you want, or you can do your own version of Pokemon, or you can do Naruto or whatever anime stuff you want to do. So yeah, I have a couple lists of abilities. I was just wondering, what like kind of stuff do you think you would want this cat to be able to do? The game can let you just make skills, but we're not doing that because that's like hard. and the game has like enough skills that I think would be applicable to a normal cat without having to whip out, because it does have a thing that's specifically called unique, which is literally just, hey, if something doesn't work, just ask your GM to make it. So yeah, I will stop talking now because I've been talking for a while.
It's all good.
You are all good.
What we want the cat to do kind of depends on the genre we're gonna throw it in.
Okay.
Easy slice of life.
Yeah, no, that can work. Actually, side note, the creator actually did kind of like a collaborative, like littler game, which was with another like super slice of life, relaxing TTRPG. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but that exists out there. So it does work for slice of life because, as I said, it's just you're making an anime, so it's whatever the GM needs. That's perfect because that means we can totally take attack, which is a skill, and throw it out the window. I will say this. Attack can be really fun to do if you have people who want to do combat. There's a whole section we're going to ignore, which is effectively buffs you can give abilities to make them stronger or weaker. Yeah, stronger or weaker, but it corresponds to how much energy you use. We're going to ignore all that bullshit because we're making a cat. If people are interested, pick up the book and look at it yourself. It's fun if you're in the right headspace. But the best thing about this game is that you can literally take whole sections of the book and ignore them because it's flexible enough for that.
Nice. This is not a safe space for people who want to play games the right way. If you haven't figured that out by now.
I mean, like, at the end of the day, I do have a couple of friends who are that, like, I play old school TTRPGs and I like the crunch. And I have done a game like that with this. But you have to intentionally do that. It's not a system which is like you have to do it. You have to go out of your way to make it crunchy, which I like. They still didn't like it, but hey, that's what trying new things is about. Sometimes you don't like it. So I thought some easy stuff to do would just be to pick things that cats can do, because I don't know, that makes sense to me. So I have a couple of just like little abilities that are listed. I'm not going to get too into like what the actual book says the ability does, because short answer, at least how I like to GM, is kind of, I don't know, maybe this is a bit silly, but like I always like to let players try and convince me why they want to have this ability. So it's like, oh, my character has agile as an ability, and I'm trying to do this thing where I like jump from building to building. I think agile should count now, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a fair, believable thing. The game does say not to stack too many abilities. The cap it says as good as +7, which, you know, you're rolling 7d6 and you need to get like, I don't know, a 10 maximum normally, and that's like for a really good skill roll. So, you know, that's not impossible. Normally you'd be rolling closer to about +3 or 4, maybe +5. Anyway, so some abilities that I thought would be good for a cat is agile. So like, you know, being able to jump around and move gracefully.
Mm-hmm.
A skill called Art of Invisibility, which is not actual invisibility, because that's a skill in this game as well. I don't know why. Art of Invisibility is just stealth, which, I don't know, I feel like cats are quite stealthy.
It can be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's cute, and that is with an exclamation mark, so you're supposed to say like cute. So in this game, there are like 3 different skills that are like kind of persuasion-y kind of things. I'm using D&D terms because I think it's perhaps a little bit easier for people who are not familiar with kind of a more loose system like this. And that's what it says on the tin. So you could be like, oh, I'm a cute little cat, you know, oh, give me a belly scratch or some nice treats or something, you know.
You let me do whatever I want because I'm cute, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's literally like that. In the thing, it's like, this is what cute is for. It's for letting people drop their guard and be like, oh yeah, sure, go do whatever you're doing. There is evasive, which is more like dodging and avoiding, which again, I feel like cats are slinky little things. Although I guess if we're not doing combat or anything, that might not be necessary.
Well,
And then the other one that I did was heightened sense. And this is the first kind of other cool thing that I was going to mention, is that a lot of the abilities are themselves quite broad, and you're basically able to be specific with what that is. So heightened sense, you could put in brackets after that sense of smell or hearing or like night vision, all things cats have good senses of. And then that kind of can be used in quite a specific sense. And I usually encourage players to do that, largely because it's more fun that way. I don't know. I feel like if you give a player like a kind of omni ability that can be used for 100 different things, they end up just kind of turning it into a hammer that they use for one thing. Maybe I've played with friends who are just like that, but it can be a little bit overwhelming if you're like, yes, this ability can do everything. So it's like no pressure.
Makes me think of like, and I don't know if this game has like a move for this, but like my favorite RPG is City of Mist, and like it makes you make broad power tags, it calls them. And like, yeah, the broad tag can technically be used for just about anything. But in order to apply it to a specific situation, there's like a role that you have to do called change the game, which is where you take the broad tag and then you create the specific scenario in which you can use it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, there's a skill in this, an ability in this called knowledge. And I have a kind of homebrew rule, which is like, so you have to put a tag, if you will, for knowledge. You can't just be like, I have knowledge. You have to specify what the knowledge is. And the rule I have is, so that the example I always use is biology. So like, okay, my knowledge is in biology. Cool. You can use that for tons of different things. But like, if you've got to do surgery on someone, I'm going to give you a penalty, because a penalty in this game is just, I say, remove a dice or a die. Because it's like, you just have a general understanding of biology. You're very good at it, but you can't do surgery. However, if their thing was knowledge surgery, it's the inverse. It's a specific skill, but when you use it, you're not being penalized. And in some cases, I normally give them a bonus, like an extra +1, because I'm like, hey, you're using the thing that you chose, and that's neat, and you should be rewarded.
That makes sense.
At least that's my logic. Yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any other things I had. I had some other little ones. You'll notice I'm not putting numbers behind them. And this is because I personally find the weaknesses are better to actually put down the numerical values and then retroactively go back to the abilities and then stat them out, if that makes sense. Because the abilities are quite broad. Literally, it's just you are better at. So, like for cute, a +1 and +2, literally the only difference is you are cuter than the +1. Like, that's it. Weaknesses are different. There are specified things. And I will say this is the thing I've found that can trip people up. You need to be careful, if, both as a player and a GM, what weaknesses you take. So, like, a -1 weakness is an inconvenience, right? Yeah. A -2 is like kind of like a character defining thing, but also you're more than that. A -3 is like, this is a huge part of your life and you can't ignore it. So, like, put it this way, right? One of the things I put down for this cat is awkward size. So awkward size is literally just, so like a -1 is you're slightly shorter than average or you're slightly taller than average. But a -2 is like, you're not human size. And that's going to cause problems. And then a -3 is like, you're a bug or you're a giant. And like, that's the scaling for all of the weaknesses. Like 1, inconvenience. 2, okay, this is kind of thingy. And then 3 is like, yep, your life revolves around this thing. And you need to, as a player and as a GM, factor that in. And the owl-eared listeners will have worked out that you can go to +5, you can only go to -3. So if you want to have a +5 ability, at minimum, you're going to have either like a -3 and a -2 just to balance that one ability. So I like that because that's its own like little equalizer that stops players just
making themselves overpowered out the bat.
Exactly, yeah. There is a whole system for giving out points. We're not going to do that because we're just making the character. But again, if someone is interested and they pick up the book, that's there. You can dive into that yourself. So I'm just going to say a couple more abilities and then we can go into weaknesses, which I will then stop talking because I will kind of pitch them to you and you can decide how much or little you would want from that, if that makes sense. And I can give clarity and stuff. Some other things I put because I thought it'd be funny. You can be famous, and I thought like you could be like an influencer's cat or something. I don't know. I thought that'd be like you could be what was that cat that had like a really sour looking face? I can't remember his name.
Grumpy Cat.
Grumpy Cat. You could be Grumpy Cat. Another one is knowledge, and like you could say you're a cat that knows your way around the local area or something like that. There's lucky, which I just thought would be funny because, you know, cats, 9 lives. Performer, like you're a cat that knows a couple of tricks. And then the final one, because I thought it was a meme, is minions. Because you could have like cat buddies. You could could call forth. That's probably the most out there one. So we can maybe shelf that if there's not enough room for it. But that's,
our cat is actually the Rat King.
Well,
controls all rats in the area.
Yeah, well, it's funny because there's quite a few, because the game actually has like how you do companions and stuff, like NPCs that the players have agency over. And I'll say this, it's probably one of the better ways I've seen it done, but we will circle back to that if we do minions and stuff. So I'm going to rattle through the weaknesses, and this is hopefully where I'll stop talking because I'm probably chewing the ears off your lovely audience.
Oh, you're good.
So
that's what a podcast is for.
Exactly, yeah. So the first one I went with was, as I said, awkward size, and I gave it a -2. And my reasoning was that I think for a cat, that's about what it would be. Like, obviously, you know, you're small and people can pick you up, and, you know, things that would not hinder a person would hinder you. Whereas, like, you know, I wouldn't say -3 because that's like, as I said, you're a bug at that point, or you're like an amoeba. You're something ridiculously small. I guess the more realistic would be like a borrower. Do you guys know what the borrowers are?
Yeah,
like
I've seen that
movie. Yeah. So that'd be it. Or, as I said, you could be like a giant or like a big mech or something. Okay.
You said amoeba, and immediately my brain goes, Oh my god, you can play Osmosis Jones.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And they even have an acknowledgement like, well, if you're doing if you're doing something like Osmosis Jones or you're doing like a mecha, they say you might have to factor in that awkward size would be true for a mecha show, but like everything is giant. So, it's a fun thing. Okay, so the first one, and I'd love to hear your take on it, is I went with easily distracted, because I feel like cats can be easily distracted. And it's just to give for perspective, as the book says, at level 1, sounds, bright lights, voices, and other attention getters easily attract your notice. You may be taken by these diversions of interest, but will quickly refocus at the task at hand. And then they basically escalate from there. So like a level 2 is like, it takes like a lot longer for you to go, oh, actually, I should stop looking at that laser pointer. And then like a level 3 is like somebody literally has to come out and like say, no, we need to go. And yeah, as I'm saying, like within an RP context, it basically means like your character will just wander off and do their own thing. Like if they are not being supervised would be the... Yeah. Level 3 is you will immediately focus all your efforts on this distraction. Even obvious fake outs and lies will keep you looking for a sizable chunk of time.
I think, like for a cat, this feels like a 2 or 3, like maybe a 1, but like my impression of cats is like they focus in on things. So like something gets their attention, it has their focus. And in order to like get their focus on something else, you have to make the thing you want them to focus on even flashier or take away the thing they're currently focusing on.
Okay. I think a -2 would work then, because as I said, like a -3 is literally like, because I have a cat, I've had cats, they will get bored eventually, like they'll lose interest if the thing doesn't like do something
time.
Different every like 5 minutes. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's cool. Okay, another one would be fear. I'll just read the level 1, and then, as I said, they can be specific, but like they escalate. So you are uncomfortable in the presence of your fear, and I'll let you guys pick what the cat is afraid of, and will try to remove yourself as soon as possible. And then, as I said, like level 2 is like, oh, I will really try and get myself away. And like level 3 is like, you literally will go catatonic. Like you will just not move and just curl up into a ball. So, as I said, they escalate pretty dramatically.
I feel like that would be, I don't know. Cats can be startled if something sneaks up on them, but I don't know, depending on the size and how determined they are, that they're more likely to fight than flee.
Yeah.
I was thinking you could maybe do like water. I know this, but right, I'll say this. I did do animals as my study in like college, university.
All right.
I know there are cats that like swimming, but you know, we're
majority
doing...
of the
exactly. Or you could or you could do dogs, or you could do something like loud noises or something like that. Although, as you're saying, that might not track especially well.
Cucumbers.
But yeah, as I said, this is kind of the we could go for cucumbers.
I don't know. How often would that come up, though, realistically?
I mean, that's up to your DM, to be honest.
If we have the time, I have one, like, there's 1 or 2 weaknesses that I would happily, like, mini rant about, because, like, that problem does come up for some of them, where it's, like, it's funny the first couple times you do it, but then it's, like, it's a weakness that if you use it too much, it just becomes frustrating and not interesting. In this case, it's less about the availability of the fear and just how you react to it. So you could have cucumbers, because it's not so much how often a cucumber appears, it's more just like, oh, I want to be away from this, or it surprises me. So we could also give that a -2 or a -1, whatever you're feeling.
I think a -1
more. Or we could do...
would work better, because I think it's like
that's fair.
You're easily startled by it, but once you're aware of its presence,
you kind of focus back in.
Once you're aware of its presence, then it's not as big of a threat, I guess.
No, that makes total sense. And from if there are potentially GMs listening, how you might use this is, say, a cucumber might be in vicinity while a character is trying to do something. So maybe like, oh, I want my cat to jump up on the table. That's fine. There's a cucumber on the table. So they would remove one of the die they are rolling.
All right.
Yeah, just for context of how the weaknesses and abilities work. And then they might say, oh, well, I have agile, and that, and that's how you would do the economy of it. Okay, another one would be hatred. So like, again, the reason why this is a weakness is because it might impair your judgment. So like you might let me get the exact thing because it's just easier. At level 1, you can curb your hatred. However, you will avoid the object in question, or if a person might act cold or inhospitable. And then, as I said, they escalate from there.
What's the flavor on that for 2? Because I've got an idea, but...
Okay. You can hardly keep your distaste in check. You will want to harm or dispose of the object in question, or if a person, be extremely harsh or even violent towards them. Do not ask me what 3 is. 3, yeah. No, I'm joking. 3 is just actually, yeah. Let's not do 3. I will say this game can go from 0 to 100 very quickly. And there are edgelords who will like this game. Let me put it like that.
The red light.
God, red light must be destroyed at all costs.
Yeah, that can be a thing. I'll repeat again, it's not about how often the GM, like how often it will appear. It's more just about how you'll react and, how you'll have to RP it and such like that.
But even that, I could see like a scenario where like, how like some security cameras will have like an infrared sensor for depth perception.
Oh yeah, okay.
And if a cat could see that at some level, then the instinct to pounce, to attack the point at which it is.
Yeah. No, that's good.
So obviously we're doing slice of life. I don't know how many security cameras we'll need to sneak past, but
I guess it'd be. It kind of depends on what kind of slice of life you want to go with, because there's a lot out there.
Yeah, no, it's varied.
I'm a connoisseur of slice of life anime.
I would also say a GM can, like, as much as the players can try and convince the GM as to where they can use their abilities, a GM might say, well, you're in a room with red light and that is impairing your judgment, kind of thing, if that makes sense.
Or, even come to think of it, like, you could be walking down the street in, like, a shopping district, and someone could have a security camera out front the shop. You're just trying to walk by casually.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly it's on with the security camera.
Yeah, no, exactly.
On site.
I'll do this one quickly, because I think I've got 3 more, maybe 4, depending on how many we've totaled up. One that I gave automatically was mute -3, and that's because mute -3 is you are not capable of communicating as a person would, and that's appropriate for a cat.
That's pretty standard.
Yeah, I think it even goes as far to say you can't understand human speech. I mean, it doesn't say human, but you're non-verbal, and that works for a cat. You can, but you can still say, "Oh, feed me" or whatever. You can still communicate that, but that's the most. But I just thought, that's the one. I always say if you are going to take 1 -3, that's fine. It's when you take 2 or 3, that's that's
going to get in your way.
Going to be kind of a nightmare. Yeah, that's going to get in your way, especially if you pick quite a broad limitation. So yes, the next one I went with is impulsive, because I don't know, I feel like cats can be impulsive at times. So at level 1, even though you are impulsive, you can be somewhat rational, even if others are trying to talk you out of whatever crazy stunt you're considering, which in my head, I envision the cat, if you've seen the YouTube videos, doing that thing where they're sitting on a perch and kind of getting ready to jump. Yeah, exactly.
Just no.
No.
He's gonna do it anyways.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to remember the clip. There's the one a woman's there's a cat and it's got its paw on her glass of water and she's like, "No, please." Yeah, and the cat looks at her and then pushes it off.
I know the video you're talking about.
Yeah. Cats have no soul sometimes.
Sometimes. Funny enough, I can say with certainty, my cat has never tried to push anything off of any surface. I don't know if he's broken or if he's just polite, but I have never had that problem.
I've only had one instance where the cat that we currently have did like the oh gosh, this was a terrible idea. Like she was climbing on top of like a cabinet and there was stuff on there and she thought I'll just go around it. And she tried. I saw her like slip and I caught her and she just went meow like a proper like oh shit. Oh no. I was like, yeah, you oh my goodness. But it was all fine. She was safe in the end. But yeah.
Good.
I think a -1
Yeah.
would be
Yeah,
appropriate.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, because cats have self-preservation. I'm sure some of them can be told not to do a thing.
Maybe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Most cats in my life have typically listened. If you're like, "Hey, stop that," they'll just
Knock it
look at you
off.
and be like, "Yeah," they'll look at you and then they'll stare you down for a second and then they'll just walk somewhere else.
So the last two were a bit iffy, but I thought they'd be interesting to include. And as I said, you're better to take a lot of your weaknesses early on in character creation rather than like try and do maths to get more points later down the line, because more weaknesses you have, the more you can put into your points. So one of them is restricted freedom, which basically the way I conceptualized this was you have like an owner and it means you can't like leave for 4 days because they'll get worried about you, kind of thing. The exact thing is at level 1, you are only mildly inconvenienced. You may have a job that requires you to put in for a vacation time or other leaves, or you could have a very protective parents, which is I'm translating as you have an owner, like maybe a little old lady, or like a stressed out worker who like would be sad if their cat disappeared for like a week. And that's like I don't know, that was just at least my headspace, but I could understand a player maybe going, hey, I don't know, I want to be like a stray cat that just wanders the streets.
I like the idea of doing a house cat. What's level 2 for that?
It's more for humans, but like with things, but it goes, much of your life is dictated by your circumstances. You may have a job that requires you to report in daily and get approval for further activities, or perhaps you're part of a powerful family that keeps you close by and well guarded. So like that would probably be, you have like I mean, maybe I'm being a bit unfair here, but like you're having like quite a protective owner. I've met people who are like, no, my cat. I guess the best example would be you're a cat that's allowed outside, but like you're allowed outside to go to the toilet and you go in the garden that's walled off. Like one would be you're a cat that's allowed to go outside and wander, but your owner wants you to come back and would be worried. And like level 2 would be like you can leave the house, but you go into the walled off garden, like
My thought was more along the lines of like cats. Most cats can't open doors by themselves. So like if they want to like not just leave, but like go to a different area, if that is blocked off by a closed door, they are not going to be able to get through without help.
Yeah, that's true.
What was the name of this one again? Sorry.
Restricted freedom. Like, for context, level 3 is every moment of your life is carefully penciled in. Your job may have complete control over your actions, or you might be royalty with every moment scheduled and your every move watched by a plethora of guards. So in that case, like, you're an indoor cat and you do not leave the house, would be my assumption. And like, again, while that might sound quite constrictive, you can always try and go against these weaknesses. It's just, if you want a gallivant and you've got a -3, you're taking that -3 with you, kind of thing.
I think a level 1 or 2 would be more fitting. Like we have our independence. We just can't leave without help.
I like the idea of a -1 in terms of like I have an owner. Like say this is like an outside cat, like that typically sticks around a specific person's house, or like obviously like has a call or something, maybe they go inside sometimes, but I like the idea of like I have to be back here by the end of the day, but throughout the day I can get up, walk around the town and everything, but I'll find my way back. I feel like that'd just make for better, like, if anybody picked this up and played it, I feel like that'd make for better, like, actually being able to go out and be like, go to the market.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I would say you've got a pretty good spread of 2s and 1s and 1-3, so I think another 1 is not going to do any harm.
All right.
I'll do one more and then we can like basically retroactively go back to abilities and just literally that's just adding how much you want in one or the other. And abilities is easier. That's just how good at it do you want to be? And then that's it.
All right.
The last one I was thinking was compulsion. And this was the one I was the most iffy on. Because I'm like, I feel like a cat can be compelled to do things, but I was struggling to think of the context, if that makes sense. Like, I kept going back to catnip, but like that's not really what compulsion applies to. And the thing that would be closer is dependency, but that's like, I smoke or I drink, and that's not what catnip is to a cat. But like at level 1, you have a deep desire that's hard to keep in check, but has few consequences if you fail to do so. You may always want to grab the last piece of sushi or make a conscious effort to resist stopping for a few hands when you pass a card game. So that's why I was like, I can feel a cat would be compelled to like do some shit. Like I keep coming back to like maybe knocking some stuff over or whatever, but like I wasn't really sure how to, if that fit with compulsion. You know what I mean?
I feel like it like
I think
if you're gonna like work in the like I have to knock this over and see what happens, that would definitely be like a level 1 compulsion probably.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. I've also been keeping note. I just realized I probably don't have to do that, but
Austin usually fills out the character
like,
sheets.
I've been.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I've been writing all these down.
Thank you, Austin. Okay then. So if I've got this correct, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So you've got minus 13. So that means you can put 13 points into your various stuff. As I said, most of the abilities don't have what you would call like the same kind of grading or escalation as the weaknesses. Though the one that I did list, Lucky, does have like a little caveat to it. A couple of the abilities have like actual like mechanical nuances, if you will, whereas the rest of them are just like, you have a +2, you have a +3. As does minions, but we'll get to that. If we've got room for minions, we can do something with that. So basically, the way luck works is that it's pretty much the same as it works in a lot of other games like D&D. So the number of luck points that you have is the number of additional. This game calls them drama dice, but they're the same as like what is in D&D? Like the inspiration, I think.
Oh yeah.
And basically, you have as many dice as you have in Lucky. So if you've got a +2, you have 2 additional dice that you can add to a roll, and then they replenish after between adventures or at the GM's discretion. I usually do like once a day, but it would be up to whoever you had. So that's the only one that like. The number does matter. The rest of them are literally just you're better or worse at this, pretty much.
All right.
Now, you mentioned famous earlier.
Yes.
I think that 100% would be hilarious to have.
Yeah.
That could also tie into like our restricted freedom of like maybe if we wanted to go down 1 or 2, like for restricted freedom of like maybe this cat is kind of famous and needs to like go places or be there for their owner's TikToks or whatever.
I also had the thought that like, what if it was like a local celebrity and its owner just had no idea?
Oh, that's good. Like everybody knows this cat. Like, oh, look, this cat's so cute, so friendly.
That's good.
Like, oh man.
So famous works pretty much the same as a lot of like persuasive or like people skills, if you will, a lot of things. So basically, the higher you have in it, the more likely someone knows that you're a famous individual and is more likely to be like, yeah, you can do this. So I guess in the regards to a cat, if it's between other cats or other animals, I guess they could like communicate and be like, yeah, sure, I can help you get that sardine from the kitchen counter. But if it was people, it could just be, oh my god, that cat's so cute. Give him those sardines. Like, oh my god, I've seen their TikToks, which I think they make on their own. Let's not think about that. That might break a rule. There we go. I may have just broken a rule. Can cats use TikTok on their own?
Well, we had a cat that was able to sign up and use a Monster Hunters app, so
That's true, we did. That was part of
yeah,
its
that's
class,
true. That was a
though.
class
Part of the
requirement.
rulebook.
Everyone in iHunt has to be able to use the iHunt app.
Amazing. So yeah, I will let you guys pick like how much you would want in everything, and I can offer like any expertise if you're wanting some. But yeah, I'll just let you, Romuald.
I think if we want to do Joel's local celebrity idea, maybe a +1 would be fine. But if we're doing anything more than that, probably +2, +3.
It does have a little bit of flavor text if you want. So a level 1, a few people know your name and might give you a hearty handshake and humor small requests. A level 2, you are recognized in your field. See, it's not great for a cat, but as I said, you can kind of, finagle it into something a little bit more appropriate. You're recognized in your field, and those familiar with your work or history will be thrilled to meet you. So I guess if you were translating that into cat, like a 1 is like your neighborhood would know what cat you are. Like, okay, that's, Mrs. or Mr. or, them's cat. And then like level 2 is like, okay, so like other cats in the neighborhood know you, and like, maybe cat people would be like, oh my god, that's that cat from, the YouTubes or the TikToks. Oh. But like if you were to show it to any like not cat nerds, they might be like, what? Yeah, it's a cat, it's cute, I guess, but like
We've talked I don't know, maybe it's just me. I can't remember. But like it's come up a couple times that like we've envisioned this cat like going out on the town on its own to like maybe a market district or something. So what if it's just like popular on the market strip? Like
yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it works.
So like,
I think a +2 would work well for that there.
I was thinking +1 for that, because like outside that area, not many people are in that one specific area.
Okay. Yeah. No, that works perfectly. Okay. I'm just having a look. I can remind you some of the other ones that we have.
That'd be good.
Okay, so the ones we had were agile, which is just being like a lot of these are just pretty on the nose. Art of invisibility, which is the stealth. Cute with an exclamation mark. Evasive, heightened sense, knowledge, lucky, minions, performer, and then there's quick, which is just, again, that's more like a speed rather than grace, if you will.
And what's our target number that we're trying to hit, because we've got to match the weaknesses?
13.
So at the moment you need to make 12. So you could,
I can screen share for you real quick, Joel.
Oh, that would be great.
if you want, you could just give everything right now a +1 and then add more, because you have less than 12. So you could, less than 13 in total. So you could just do that, and then we could buff it up if that helps. That's something I suggest to people if they have an idea, but not like to what extent, if that makes sense.
Yep.
We have 11 written down right now as possibilities.
We have 11 abilities, and then we've got to reach 13.
Yeah, we have to reach 13 pluses. That's if we want to take like all 11 of these, because like we don't need minion or performer or knowledge, I guess.
I think let's keep knowledge and say like the market strip.
That's fair. So like a +1, like they know this area really well.
Yeah, let's get rid of minions so that we have some more to go around.
Fair.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna put a vote in for +2 on cute.
Understandable.
Like, these people know this cat. They're, a little more likely to treat it with some more love and care. And one of the reasons it's well recognized is because it's so dang cute.
Yeah, like the sounds of that.
I think a +1 and everything else for now would be fine. I think every one of these abilities we can use. The only question is, what are we going to use performer for?
Do we need former?
That's another. Could you give us the description on that again?
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. I will give up the thing. I threw in a couple of like kind of wild cards, because I wasn't 100% on what kind of cat you were going for. Like, because obviously some cats, if you try and get them to do tricks, will just look at you like you've got two heads. I know I've trained a couple of cats, nothing like crazy, but like you can do it. The gist of Performer, unfortunately, again, it's in a more human context, which is the downside, but you can kind of tweak it. But basically, the gist of it is that you are at home in front of an audience and are able to dazzle them with a diverse array of talents, from music and singing, clever tricks and sleight of hand, to acting and storytelling. You are naturally entertaining when trying to impress or distract an audience, lift the spirits of weary comrades, or get grumbling fuddy-duddies to lighten up, roll your performance dice. Which is why I'm saying, like, for a cat, it could be like, you do like a little cute trick, like paw on someone, and then it's like, you know. But I can also see you saying, well, we've already got cute.
I don't know. I think the cat has been trained to give high fives.
Okay, yeah, I like that. High five, high fiving cat. Yeah.
Yeah, we can do, would that be a +1 or +2, you think?
Yeah, probably a +1.
I like that, though. Just high fives, that's it. I've been trying to teach my cat how to high five for years now, by the way. He doesn't care. He just completely blank face looks at me. I mean, to be fair, I'm not like, oh yeah, give me a high five, and then if he attempts it, I'll give him a treat. But like, no training for this guy. So let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pluses right now. Do we want to go ahead and throw a +1 in all of these, and then debate which one gets the?
I like the rest of these abilities, so
we'll have to debate what heightened sense we want specifically, because like Nye said,
probably hearing.
That's how you say your name, right?
Yeah, hearing would be good. Yeah, you have to have, for heightened sense, you have to specify what the sense is. And I guess, I don't know, I would allow it. I could also see another GM saying no. I would be fine if you wanted to have multiple ones that fall under the same skill, if that makes sense. So like you have a bracket, but like you have multiple things in that bracket. That's fine with me, because at the end of the day, it's meant to be fun, and it also just is practical because you only have a limited space on your sheet normally. But I could see another GM saying, no, you have to take the skill separately. But for this one, you know, if you want to have good hearing and good smell or sight, I'm fine with that for it being nested in the same skill. That doesn't bother me.
All right, so we could have both hearing and smell then.
Because it's not, that's pretty standard for a cat, is like they do have better senses than humans. So we have 11 here right now, which means we can make 2 of these +2s, or we can make 1 of these a +3.
I like the idea of an extra plus on quick, but I don't really have a strong argument for it. So honestly, I feel like the aspect of this cat being like sort of famous in one specific part of town is all that we've really defined about its personality. So maybe we focus on that.
That's kind of what I was thinking of. Like, what if we raise the famous up 1? Because that way, if anybody decides to play this cat, you know, they have a bit more to go off of.
Because like if we go to a +2, then it goes from, oh, this one part of town, everyone knows this cat, to it's little Sebastian from Parks and Rec.
Yes, essentially. And I like that idea of like everybody who sees this cat is like, oh my gosh, that's the local celebrity cat. Like everybody in this town, no matter where they are, is just like they see this cat and they're like, it's him.
That's adorable. Yo, it's this cat.
Look at him. Everybody's just like taking pictures. Yeah. Which would make a good argument for +2 quick, of like everybody's trying to get a pic with this cat, and sometimes they're just not having it.
That is actually a weakness you can take, is basically being really popular and people crowding around you. And that's the rant I was going to go on, because that one is funny, but it's very limiting, because it is literally just, oh, a crowd of people will get in your way. And it's like, it gets kind of laborious constantly, like having to generate people. Like you end up with a character who doesn't want to be near crowded spaces, which is narratively interesting, but then at that point the weakness has no power over them. Like I've met people who are just like, cool, we'll just never be in a populated space. I'm like, oh. But it can be funny as well, though, where it's like, chase that guy. It's like, oh my god, were you on Strictly Comes Dancing? And it's like, yeah, I was. Please, I'm chasing someone. Oh my god, yes, okay, autograph. So yeah, we could, you can do it that way. You can, if you really want to, like frame abilities as weaknesses in certain situations and weaknesses as strengths. Like
Hmm.
awkward size is a good example. You could make that a plus if you're trying to do something that would be difficult if you weren't, not normal human size. But
Yeah.
I'm fine to just have famous. And it's like occasionally it can be a problem rather than
Yeah.
taking the weakness on top of that, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
that's kind of what I was thinking of. Like, yes, they're famous. Maybe the cat likes being famous, but sometimes, in the event where they would need to get away, having the +2 and quick
Okay.
would be nice. If anybody has an argument for a different one, I would love to hear it.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Yeah.
Okay.
We also have the art of invisibility, so maybe the cat knows how to not be noticed when it doesn't want to be.
I actually, yeah, I like that better, actually. Like, I'm gonna sneak by all these people because I know that this group of people specifically is gonna want to take pics.
I also just had the thought, like we could add that one extra weakness, the one that Nye was just talking about, at a -1, and then put a +1 in quick and
Mm-hmm.
a +1 in invisibility, so that we have that, like, oh yeah, this is a problem, but we also know how to get away from it if we really don't want to deal with it right now.
That's true. I actually, yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
No problem. Let me just very quickly remind myself the name of it. I'll find it in a minute. If we just keep going, if I'm looking for it while you're distributing more points.
I think we got the points distributed. We just need to.
Add additional ones, or have you got that all covered? Sorry, I'm trying to quickly count while I'm looking as well.
Yeah, we've got the points all distributed. Austin's just alphabetizing the list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry, it was like almost alphabetized, and I was like, I might as well.
Understandable.
I was like, I have to move like 2 of these.
The other complaint I have with this game, so I found what the thing is, and this is definitely one we would have to alter. So basically, because it's for any anime, it has a couple of I guess you could say the anime ones, and the weakness is called love magnet, and literally it's exactly what it is. People will crowd around you and bother you. But I normally let people change that to just be like, you could maybe say like attention magnet or something. Like it doesn't have to be that exact thing, because obviously, or it could be love magnet, but it's like,
I think we could do attention magnet instead,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like that's more fitting for.
Yeah.
Because if people just wanted to come up, touch, pet this cat all the time, it would never leave the house again. But if everyone just wants its attention, then sometimes it doesn't mind that. So I'm gonna put down on the broken rules
yeah.
thing, love magnet to attention magnet.
I will say the rules do legit say you're allowed to change them if they suit.
Oh,
So
never mind then.
it's
We're
within
good.
the, yeah, it is. That's what I was saying. It's actually a mechanic. There's a bit that says, hey, do these abilities and weaknesses not fit the game you're making? You can totally change them, because as I said, mechanically most of them are literally just, you can add 2 dice to your roll. And there's actually a thing that goes about like, hey, do you want to do a racing campaign? Well, just make all the abilities racing related. Or if you want to do a cooking session, just make them all. So it is, that's one of the things I love about it, is you can just completely retrofit it. I will say though, that's definitely a chat with the GM, like in advance. Don't just drop it on them like, hey, can you just make all the moves and stuff tonight for our game? So yeah.
Sorry, I was just gonna mention real quickly, I miscalculated. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 pluses. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13
Okay.
minuses.
Well, we could up our knowledge by 1, say we really know this market district.
No, we'd have to minus something.
Okay.
Or take one of our pluses away. We could put the minus on restricted freedom again. Or we could put it down 1 to feed into the, like, people can pick you up and
We could always drop quick back down since we weren't sure about that one.
That's what I was thinking, because you've got art of invisibility at 2.
There
so...
we go.
Yeah, quick. Let's just do that. So now we're even.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, perfect. That is for the. Oh, actually, yeah, we'll do. Sorry, I forgot. I'm also looking at the book now. We need to do health and endurance. Health and endurance is really quick because it's super duper easy. The way that you calculate health and endurance is that you, and I'm just reminding myself so I don't make a fool of myself on the internet. You have both health and endurance are assigned the number 40, and that's it. You can give yourself abilities that increase your health and endurance. You can give yourself weaknesses that reduce your health and endurance, like the base of both. And that is kind of why there's another example where like combat can be really interesting, because unlike a lot of other games, there's not, I mean, there is a leveling system per se, but in terms of like health, unless you specifically make an enemy weaker, they're a bit of a slog because your damage is just 2d6 and they have in total 80 health, because you can do the anime thing where it's like, you've kicked the crap out of me, but I've just got that energy within me to get up, and you can use your endurance as another health bar, or vice versa, like you can use up all your endurance, then use your health as a means of using your powers. As I said, we're not going to worry about endurance because that's more specific to enhancing abilities, but we're just making a cat, and all the enhancements are more for like if you have magic spells or superpowers or things like that. They don't really gel to a cat, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
But it is something you can look into. Basically, they are modifiers that you can add to abilities to make them do more stuff. But by adding them, they have a cost of endurance. And similar to how weaknesses balance out abilities, there are things you can take to offset that cost of endurance, but it makes the ability more specific or less versatile. As I said, that is geared more towards combat rather than like a generic thing. Most of the abilities will work fine without any additions to them. So yeah, health and endurance are just 40, and then the finishing touches are, character detail stuff, their name, what they look like, what are their goals, motivations, things like that.
Well, we should of course name the cat. We could always go with the Tales of Zadia credits option.
Absolutely.
Where people credited their cats in the back of the Tales of Zadia book, and we just copied that list. And from those, we have not used Peanut, Aggie, Simber, Cecil, Onyx, Goober, Cardi, Nikki, Iggy, Shirley, Lair, Les, Herb, Imperator Furiosa, Ani, Bjorn, Bethany, Benny, Agnetha, Florence, Meow Yun Fat, Stephen Meow, Michelle Meow, Pierogi, Momo, Tortellini, Kathy, or Roll. I feel like this could be another one where, like, since the owner legit has no idea that their cat is famous, that they could go by 2 different names. Except maybe they have a collar with their name and, like, an if found return to address on it.
Yeah. Because, like, obviously, this cat has an owner, and I would assume the owner would want to, keep track of their cat. So I think it does have a collar, probably just one name. But what name?
Tortellini.
Tortellini. I see. My pick was either going to be Tortellini or Goober. So
Nye, do you have an opinion?
We can definitely go with Tortellini.
I am partial to a Goober, but I also like because I don't know. I feel like it's a common trope, at least these days, for anime to have other languages. So I like the idea that someone would go, let's call this cat Tortellini.
And see, I was just imagining this being like, if it was here in the United States, I feel like if people just knew that there was a cat roaming around town named Tortellini that you could take selfies with, and it would high five you.
That's true. Yeah. You've swayed me. Let's go with Tortellini.
All right.
And then we've already kind of got a background.
Tortellini it is.
The thing about it being like normal house cat, or so its owner thinks. In reality, everyone in the market district will recognize this cat on sight.
Yeah, I like that. I am curious. Are they famous just for the high fives, or is there anything else to that story?
I feel like the cat just like the shop owners one day figured out, oh, this cat will high five you if you hold your hand out, and that was adorable, and so they would do that. Customers would notice, and then it just snowballed from there.
I love the idea of like a local news team like coming down, like, we're here at the Falwell like Market Square where there's a cat that will high five you. It's just the cats in there. This is definitely newsworthy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was a slow news day, okay? It was high-fiving cats, or the guy who can eat the most pretzels in an hour, and we went for the cat.
Of course. Appearance, what kind of cat are we working with here? What cats are, since we're going anime here, what cats are native to Japan?
Ooh, now that's actually a good question. Yeah, you'll have to look that up because I can't think off the top of my head.
Okay. I got wild cats. That's not what I wanted.
No, that's a different thing altogether. Yeah, I think in terms of breeds, I don't know if they have necessarily like because I know just like off the top of my head, like Japan, like a lot of parts of the world, you can get most breeds of cats.
There is one
they have
just
tabbies,
called the
they
Japanese
have, like,
bobtail.
But yeah, I think they. Oh wow. Yeah, and then there's the Karelian bobtail. So yeah, we could go with either or.
Yeah.
A bobtail's kind of cute. I mean, all cats are cute, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's got a different variety of cuteness.
White.
Look at this little fluff ball. All of joy.
That's definitely you're taking a picture of me. Oh, okay. Yeah, hi. This is gonna go on Wikipedia snaps. Yeah, sure. You do you.
There is I just Googled Japanese bobtail, and one of the first things that comes up is a YouTube thumbnail that just says, "Do not," and then it has a picture of a Japanese bobtail beneath it.
Oh, no.
Do not.
Yeah. Do not what?
7 reasons why you should not.
Please
get a
do not
Japanese
the
bobtail.
cat.
Well, you're playing one. The video doesn't say.
Hold on. The scientific name for the Japanese bobtail is Felis catus.
Oh, that's the. Sorry, this is the animal now. That's the domestic cat's name in general. They're all domestic cats are called Felis cats. I think they used to also add like domesticus as well, but yeah, Felis catus. Hey, look, the scientists who had to name these things, they were kind of lazy with a lot of the easy animals to find. Catus. There we go. Right. Okay. That's a gorilla. Let's just call it gorilla. There we go. We can go home early. What's that, boa?
Everybody pack it up.
Exactly. Right, we can head to
Home before lunch.
Head to the pub early tonight, boys. We've done jobs for today. Whereas now scientists.
This was decided
they
at
were
the
at the
pub.
pub before they.
Oh
started.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Whereas now.
See, I'm looking at this. I don't know why this person is hating on Japanese bobtails because according to Hill's Pet Nutrition, they love to be with people and play seemingly endlessly.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I think if I remember.
For the audio listeners, I have no idea if Hill's Pet Nutrition is a reliable source.
I think when I was studying, because we did like cats and breeds in college, because that's kind of the thing I did. Apparently, Siamese are quite like a handful in terms of behavior. Like apparently they can be real sweet, but they can also be like right bastards if they're in the mood.
Like
it's
ones
like
in,
no, fuck you.
What was it, Lady and the Tramp?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're Siamese. I can't remember off the top of my head.
There was a whole song about it.
Oh yeah, yeah, Disney.
Yeah,
Oof,
yeah.
that was bad. You should not have done that. Oh boy. Happy thoughts. Jesus.
I want to call attention to the picture that Joel has posted in the Discord chat.
Oh whoa.
I've been thinking about that image a lot recently. I'm so glad that you just had that on hand.
Please do not the cat. Oh shit, that's from fucking WikiHow. Oh no.
Sure is.
Oh boy.
Please do not the cat.
Hey, just this is totally unrelated to everything we're doing. If you want to have a really funny, like kind of like after you've had a shit day at work, Google anything on WikiHow. WikiHow is a lawless like
I know. I
frontier
listened to my brother
bizarro
used to-
like advice. It's where
They will tell you how to do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely where like everyone on the internet who you would normally like meet at a pub who would give you advice on shit like, all right, your car's not working, right? Let me tell you what you gotta do. Pour lemon juice in the exhaust. It's like, what the fuck? No, you're not a mechanic, sir. You're just pissed.
What you're gonna do is grab the nearest M80.
Yeah. But now they're all on WikiHow. And they have pictures, which is the best. So there you go. There's the slight diversion.
I want to know who does the WikiHow.
I don't know, but I want to meet them because they're phenomenal.
Somebody had to make the please do not the cat image.
Exactly.
Oh, man. Okay, so are we going with the Japanese bobtail? Is that...
Yeah, I think we should go with Japanese
sounds good to
bobtail.
me.
Why not?
Japanese bobtail. We got Tortellini. Personality is fun and lovable.
I think you got it.
Any other descriptors here?
Yeah, this is definitely the part that like takes after more traditional TTRPGs, where it's like just throw some adjectives in to kind of flesh them out a bit.
All right.
Yeah.
Have we done it? Is this?
Yep, that is character creation. It is that easy, as they say. As I said, the only thing we'd be doing more is if we were doing like attacks and stuff like that, but we're not. We're just,
Yeah, I wrote willfully ignored on our combat stats.
Yeah, that you can just leave that blank. Yeah, the combat stats are their own beast to deal with. But yeah.
Incredible. This game seems so interesting with how open-ended it is. You really can do just about anything. Like, I was looking through the pre-made characters.
Oh yeah,
they're
fascinating.
There's so many different characters. Also, I really like the idea of a smart nerdy character named Braun.
Oh yeah, Braun's hilarious. I also love that they gave Braun combat stats, and it's like, what can he do in a fight? Well, his combat move is first day of sale shove. It's not good. You're rolling at a -2 and it does half damage, but you can certainly give him a try.
Just like everyone else for Dragon Quest, you have the power to hold your place in line.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes.
Jeez.
Yeah, there's a lot of really fun stuff, and as well, there'll be people who don't fit within the like Venn diagram of nerddom. This book is very forgiving if you have never touched anime, and equally, if for whatever reason you're reading this and you've never played a TTRPG, it's also forgiving if you've never touched a TTRPG. Like, the introduction does a really, like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if this is shade. There are some TTRPGs that do introductions to like what a TTRPG is, which are like really condescending. Like, it's like they're explaining like why the sky is blue. Like it's but to me at least, it feels like quite genuine. Like, they're going, hey, like, if you like anime but you have never tried a TTRPG, this is what this is. And hey, if you are a TTRPG enthusiast but have never touched anime, here is what it is. And it's, quite straightforward. I don't think it does anything else. And it also, the main book serves as a little thing for the GM. So there's like, at the back of it, there's a whole little thing about villains you can create that's got pre-made villains and pre-made, I think it's, where's it, page 133. And that's like the villains are pretty amazing as well. It also has just like little, even like smaller NPCs that are small stat blocks, which, now I'm going on a tangent, but I'll say this, that's what also is cool about this game. enemies and like allies and all this kind of stuff are literally just mini characters. They just have like less traits than a main character, and that's it. And I think that's really good for a GM because they're not having to work with different tools. Like, to me, that's always been the issue with games like D&D, where it's like you make characters one way and you make NPCs another way. But yeah, it's a really good game. And right at the back, there's a little thing about what kind of like anime stories you can tell if perhaps it's not your thing. I will say this was made back in, at least the second edition was 2014, and I think they, as you said, there's a revised edition in 2015. So if you're an anime nerd and you've been watching stuff in like 2023, some of the stuff will be a little bit like quaint and antiquated, but that gives it charm, in my opinion. Hey, do you know what mecha is? Oh, sweetheart, Mecha's not been around for a wee while now. It was dying when you made this, but
I don't know. They're still doing Gundam.
that is true. Yeah, but Gundam, don't give these people Gundam as they're straight off the bat. Like, hey, we're playing OVA and we're also doing Gundam. Here's a textbook of like.
I think if you're gonna do like baby's first Gundam game, you gotta throw them in Lancer.
Oh yeah.
Lancers are.
I'll say this as well. Like, since this has come out, there have been lots and lots of really wonderful like indie stuff that's more specific or has more of a focus. I like this because it's generic and you can turn any like genre or idea into a game, but I'm not saying this should be the only like interpretation of an anime TTRPG. There's lots of really fun stuff out there, and you know, if you bounce off this, there's other stuff.
I mean, that's the point of the season. We're doing for the entire summer just different anime games. We've already done the Maid game. We've done Pokeroll.
Oh wow, you did! Oh, you did Maid RPG.
Yep, that was how we started.
Yep.
Wow.
That was episode 1 of Anime Summer Season.
I will say, because especially on Two Lucky Creatures, we're very big on like lines and veils, and we don't do romance very often. This game has like just a smattering of horny on main in it. Like, one of the weaknesses is nosebleed, and like if you see a beautiful person, your nose will bleed and you can pass out. Like, there's kind of stuff like that. I will say though that compared to things like Maid TTRPG, it's mostly quite wholesome. Like, as I said, it's very
Maid had some.
Oh yeah. Maid was my second anime thing, and I was like, cool. I don't want to play this with strangers, and not really friends either.
Yeah, we went over some interesting anime that we have seen in our time when we were looking at some of the stuff on Maid.
Yeah.
Most specifically, my introduction to anime was not great.
No, yeah, and like, I don't want to keep us going for too long, but like, that's definitely the issue if you go further back, is that the anime games very much take the sensibilities of the OVAs that were coming out in the 90s, and even in some cases the 80s, and like, it really shows its age. Another one that I was drawn to briefly was, I think, the second edition of Mutants and Masterminds did an anime supplement, which I read, and I read that in like I want to say 17, 18, and it felt like a time capsule. Like, it was early 2000s, and you could tell, because all of the tropes and stuff they were playing with were like stuff I had never seen outside of like the occasional like old school deep dive. And I will say, like, that happens when you make a TTRPG about a specific medium. Like, it's the same with TTRPGs that do like films. The film is the genre, or like even my beloved Monster of the Week, like, it referenced stuff like, hey, like Buffy or Supernatural, and I'm like, I don't know if like teenagers would, like, I know they would know what it is, but I think they'd be like, oh yeah,
I don't know.
like
Supernatural only ended 2-3 years ago.
Like, I've heard of that.
But Buffy,
that's true, actually. Fair enough. True Blood, there we go. Oh yeah,
Buffy ended in like
True Blood
2003 or something, and then Angel ended 4 years later.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
And that's obviously because like the people making it
Yeah.
watch those shows, and that's just nature. Like the nature of these kind of things, everything gets old, and but it's nostalgic, and I think the nostalgia here is like not too much, and also it's a nice game. It looks nice, and I don't think the creator is making like another edition of this anytime soon. So
Yeah, I think there is a new now the Kickstarter is already like way over by the time this episode comes out, but there is a generic anime RPG system that was just like had a really successful crowdfunding campaign like not too long ago called Break. I'm excited to see how that turns out.
oh, okay. There are a lot out there, and I have been enjoying giving them tries and having a look at them. So there is a
Mhm.
lot out there. I just have a soft spot because this was like one of the earlier TTRPGs I found, and was like, I have to share this with people. And then they were like, can we play D&D again now? I was like, oh, oh, okay. That is everything I have to say about this for now. I'm joking.
Okay. Well,
I'm all good.
I guess before we go, do you have anything specific you'd like to plug? You've already told us a bit about $2 Creature Feature. Two of your other co-hosts have told us about $2 Creature Feature as well.
Yes, I will. I will plug to the Creature Feature. I might as well throw my own like one plug that I have aside from it. But yes, check out $2 Creature Feature. The Twitter. Well, I guess all of our socials are the number $2 and creature, all one thing in the at. It's the number 2 and then dollar and creature spelt as they are. It is, as I said, mostly Monster of the Week. I know I was really silly there, like dollar spelled other ways, but whatever. We had a lot of fun. At the time of this recording, we have recorded all of season 2, but season 2 is still being like periodically uploaded every fortnight, and we're working towards season 3. And yeah, it's really fun. It follows a kind of, if you're going by seasons, it's a lot like American Horror Story, where each season is like very loosely connected, but it's not direct. Personally, I mean, I don't know if the other two have said this. I advise jumping in at season 2 because we know what the fuck we're doing by season 2. He lied. No, we like the audio quality is better. We're a little bit more focused on what we're trying to do. We don't go off on. He says that we go off on tangents, but we know to edit them out now.
I listened to $2 Creature Feature. I know you don't edit out all your tangents.
What? Pulls at collar. No, I really love it, and it's one of like the things I've been enjoying doing a lot of, and I've met a lot of cool people through it, including
Nice.
you two. So I mean, like, hey, it's working for me.
Nice.
My plug, because I might as well, because people tell me to. I will just plug my Twitter for however long that's a thing. This is across all my social media, but as I said, just go on $2 Creature Feature if you're desperate to find the stuff I do. Just go on our Discord and like, or throw a rock at me on Twitter. I don't know. So my Twitter is at Erzatz. That is ERSATZ expert. That's all one word, and expert is spelt as it sounds. I will repeat again just because I'm bad at spelling. ERSATZ expert. I mostly just retweet stuff. I don't tweet a lot, but like I have a link tree and shit there. So yeah, I do other stuff than $2, but not often. So, but hey, I was told I should plug my own stuff as well as $2 Creature Feature. But I just want to say thank you for having me on. I have had a lot of fun. I got to nerd out, which is always good. And I think the concept of your podcast is really neat. I don't know. I feel like it's just nice seeing people doing something that's wildly different from everybody else, and that's really cool. And I hope more people do super zany, cool, out there concepts for podcasts.
Thank you. I remember when Joel came to me with this idea, and my immediate first thought was, that sounds so wild and ridiculous. I'm absolutely in. Let's get it.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think it plays to the strengths of like doing character creation because you're setting yourself goals and it's funny. So, that's always a huge help when doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Make it funny. It's why the podcast for tax returns haven't been flying off Spotify.
What do you mean? Those are popping off every April, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Austin, it's your turn.
Things I have to plug are I also have a Twitter account at Avalon Alchemist. And I realize some people don't know how to spell Avalon. This is a very specific call out to one of my friends who I don't even think listens to the show. But it is Avalon and then Alchemist, which if you don't know how to spell that, sorry about you. No, I'm kidding. Alchemist. And I am at Avalon Alchemist on Twitter, where I do most of my posting, Tumblr, which I exist on, and Twitch, where I stream quite often. I try to stream at least 2 to 3 times a week. Sometimes it's more, but sometimes life gets in the way. I've been playing through Fallout New Vegas, but I'm almost done with it. So by the time you are hearing this episode,
Nice.
I will most likely have moved on to Spider-Man Miles Morales, which I'm
I'm
playing.
replaying the original,
nice.
Insomniac Spider-Man, because I never did the City Never Sleeps DLC.
Oh, yeah, I never beat the DLC for it either. I don't even know if I have the DLC.
I
for
have
the
never
first
played
one.
the games because I don't have a PlayStation. It might be on PC as well now, I think.
I think both them are on PC now.
Right, okay.
Still am mad that they changed his face for his actor.
They made his face like a child's face. The original guy was like a tired 20-something.
Yeah, it's really...
Which made sense for a Peter Parker who had been at it for 8 years.
Yeah, and now it's like, yeah, he has been Spider-Man, so I don't know. Anyways, Joel, what have you got for us?
I am on Twitter and Tumblr and a few other places at Danilo Lioge, which is my name, Joel Holland, spelled backwards. You don't need to worry about spelling that, because if you go to jholland.start.page, then you will find just links to that stuff. And it's all really convenient. You can just click the links. And for that one, all you need to know how to do is spell Holland, which there's a country called that. So you can find that one pretty easily, the correct spelling. It's spelled the same way as the country. And then you just throw a J on the front. I'm not really doing much personally at the moment, other than this cool podcast I co-host called How to Make a Literal Cat in Your Favorite RPG. I guess Austin and I have a couple other things that we are threatening to start behind the scenes, but
that's what I need to do. I need to start threatening people with my personal projects. It's like,
we keep saying we should
Joel.
totally work on this. I've got sort of an outline started. We should just finish it. How hard could it be? And then the conversation has gone beyond that once.
Yeah. I'm so sorry, Joel. Life has been kicking my ass for the past month and a half.
Dude, it's all good. I'm still just looking at these outlines with some cool Powered by the Apocalypse 2d6 rolls that you can do. And that's what I've got going, because I'm thinking, here's what I want the players to be able to do. Here are the moves that can make it happen. They are probably not great, but we won't know for sure until we can test it. So that's enough about me, because there's nothing going on there. Let's talk more about this cool show, How to Make a Literal Cat in Your Favorite RPG, and where you can find it online. We don't use that whole title for most of our online presence. We just go with Literal Cat Pod, which is our Twitter, our Tumblr, our YouTube, because you can reserve ats now on YouTube. And so if you go to @LiteralCatPod on YouTube, you'll find us there. Technically, we're on Good Pods. I guess every podcast is on Good Pods. It aggregates podcasts. You just have to go in and claim it.
Weird flex. They follow me on Twitter. I don't follow them. I don't know, because I'm not a podcast dude. Our Gucci Meter is the podcast guys, but yeah, maybe they'll stop following me when this episode breaks.
I don't think they listen to my podcasts.
That bastard.
Well, I don't know. They follow me on Twitter too, so maybe if we just clip this part right here specifically, and use that as like a plug, like a little teaser for the episode, and they hear that, they'll think, oh, well, screw you too.
Yeah.
Oh, I would like to point out, while we're talking about where this show is, on Spotify, we officially have a 5-star rating.
We got rated?
We got rated by 2 people.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Wait. You said a 5-star rating, so does that mean that someone gave us a lower one as well?
No. It says out of 2 reviews, we are sitting at 5 stars.
Nice.
So I'm assuming that means both people have given us 5 stars.
Just a note for y'all at home, because I was going to get to this next anyway. But ratings and reviews really help us. You know what else helps us? Actually, no, let's talk about ratings and reviews for a moment. They really help us. Like, I don't know if we've got anything outside Spotify. I just checked Apple Podcast Connect the other day, and it looks like we don't have anything over there. But if you leave a rating or review, like even if you just hit that 5-star button, or if you don't think we're worth 5 stars and you hit the 4-star button, we're not worth any less than 4 stars. This is a 4-star and up podcast, realistically.
Yeah, you're 4-star generals.
But like, even if you don't have anything to say, like if you leave the rating, it does bump up our like visibility on the platform. So the more ratings we get, the more likely Spotify or Apple or whoever is to show the podcast to other people in their recommended tab, assuming they have one of those.
Yeah, and it also works on, because then if those websites start optimizing the searches, then it means search engines like Google or Bing or whatever also then...
I mean, literally nothing else comes up right now if you Google how to make a literal cat in your favorite RPG. We have cornered that SEO.
Oh, yeah,
market.
of course. Yeah. But like an example would be like if someone said cat TTRPG, it's like if you've got lots of reviews, that'll kind of bump it up a little bit as well. But yeah, it's important. Be kind to your podcasts, because God knows that the algorithm isn't.
The algorithm is nobody's friend. You know what else helps us, though, is when you email us cat pictures. And, you know...
Absolutely.
We've actually, this time, I can say with absolute certainty, we have cat pictures in our inbox.
Holy shit, awesome.
My God, it finally happened, Joel.
You know how...
We've been waiting for this moment.
You know how Quinn, when she was on for Pokeroll, said that she would send us cat pics at an undisclosed time?
Mm-hmm.
They arrived. Told us all about Cammy and Tiberius. So, honestly, next episode, we should make one of them into a character.
Ooh.
Nice.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you can also send us cats, and we will, if you send us pictures of your cats and tell us a little bit about them, we might turn them into characters. You never know. It'll probably happen. We don't have better ideas. And then finally... If you don't want to leave us a review, or even if you do, but you also want to do something else, or there's something else you want to do instead, we have started the Badger Trove Patreon. We call it Badger Trove and not Literal Cat Pod because we want to put a couple other things we're working on under it, like that TTRPG that we're threatening to make. It could happen.
You've been warned.
It's a one-shot game. How hard could it be?
Famous last words.
Right. Yeah, never say how hard could it be about your project, because it will be hard in ways that you don't expect.
Me when making a fucking tumbleweed, I spent hours on that.
I think Blackboard would have made that a lot easier on you.
Oh, probably. I brute forced it though. I didn't.
Yeah,
care.
that whole thing was blueprint. Probably not the way to go.
You know what? It worked.
Yeah, it worked. And I finally figured out how to make Unreal Engine 5 run smoothly on my computer. All I had to do was turn off like 2 new features. So I might start making video games again. Who knows?
Let's go.
We'll see.
Cool.
But anyway, so that's things that we might have, like, aside from the podcast, that go up on Badger Trove, the Patreon. And also, we have, like, you know, a social media presence for Badger Trove, but who cares about that? We're not talking about them right now. We're talking about Literal Cat Pod. Follow them on Twitter. Follow them on Tumblr. Give literal cat pod reviews and all that. I think we've talked enough about this, right? Oh, wait, no, we got one more thing to say. The character sheets for this and every other episode are available if you go to bit.ly/literalcatpod. And that's everything. Austin, you got a cat pun for us?
I sure do. You gotta live your day-to-day in some bliss. Bliss? No. Hold on. I'm re-saying that.
Okay.
You want to live your day-to-day in bliss. So don't let a simple catastrophe ruin it for you.
Grab some popcorn and find your seats. Monster of the Week Actual Play Podcast $2 Creature Feature returns for Season 2 on February 22nd. This season, we'll see a whole new crew of hunters confronting the mysteries at the heart of the town of Jupiter Hollow.
I'm Megan Murphy. I'm playing Zelda Wardwell, the Flake. Oh, wait, I'm supposed to protect people too. That's like what heroes do.
I'm Nielder, playing Eric Ashrin, the Crooked. Let's just say I don't ask questions that involve textbooks. I ask questions that involve cash.
I'm Laura McMillan, and I'm playing Tammy Jo Marpoint, your hometown home finder. I'm here to make deals with the good people of Jupiter Hollow, but I already made a deal of my own. Tammy Jo is the monstrous.
And I'm Mr. Ray. I play everything that tries to kill these people. And if you enjoyed our first season, you ain't seen nothing yet.
New episodes every other Tuesday wherever podcasts are found.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.